What is up? My name is Brady. This is Be All In Sports. We're back again. We're going to break down this added fight that we have to the UFC Seattle card, Cejudo versus Song this weekend. This was just added on my way home. Actually found out about this before they even had it up on Tapology. So been kind of going through some tape study, doing a little bit of looking, up some in particular stuff about each one of these fighters, seeing if I could give you my best prediction on this fight, and I think we've got it. So we'll get right into it here because again, I forgot to give you bets last night or the other night when I was doing my full card breakdown, but we did have this added fight, so I thought I'd just go ahead and add these at the end of this video as well. So if you're looking for those first beginning bets that I've put in already, I will give them to you here in just a few minutes, but we will get right into this first fight. We have Austin Vanderford taking on Nikolay Veretennikov. This many people may know Austin Vanderford because he is Paige Van Zandt's boyfriend or husband or whatever they are now. And she used to be a UFC fighter. She went through the Power Slap, and then she's now in BKFC, I believe. And I don't know where she went now, but he is taking on Nikolay Veretennikov. Veretennikov, I don't know, whatever. Nikolay Veretennikov. I'm going to stick with it like that. He is from Kazakhstan. He's 35 years old. Vanderford is 34. Right now, Vanderford is sitting at the underdog over on Tapology. They've come out listed him as the underdog. And at first, I thought this was reversed when I first saw this matchup come up. I thought that Austin Vanderford was actually going to be the favorite, and Veretennikov was the underdog. Unfortunately, that is not the way that played out. I was about ready to jump all over that line if that was the case, because I do think this is a good matchup for Veretennikov. I think he's been in the UFC before. He, if you remember him from the Dana White Contender Series matchup that he had, he did face Michael Morales in that one. He went to decision in that one. It wasn't his greatest outing, but you got to keep in mind that was 3 years ago. Since then, he's gone outside the UFC and he's picked up three impressive wins. I believe 2 by submission, or 1 by submission, 2 by knockout, both in the first round, I believe, on the knockout. So and Austin Vanderford, on the other hand, he does have a fight within the last 3 months. He was fighting in LFA after he left Bellator, so he did have a fight there against Victor Romero, who was 13-7. He did beat him by KO and ground strikes, but before that, let's look at his matchups before that. He took on Aaron Jeffrey, who was 12-3. He lost by knockout in that one. Before that, he took on Gegard Mousasi, who you can't really fault him for these type of wins. These are a little bit higher level, almost getting close to like around that 3-year mark when these fights were taking place. You have to think that he's had some type of improvement in there, but at the same exact time, I think the same can be said for Veretennikov. And the last matchup that he had was in the UFC. He did take on Danny Barlow, and in my eyes, Danny Barlow is a very, very good fighter. He went to split decision with him. I think he has improved his game. I think for him, I think it's on a different level altogether. He is basically a striker. He's not going to be the type that's going to go for takedowns. On the other hand, you have Austin Vanderford, who is not the best striker in the world. He does tend to have a tendency to take a few shots during his matches, but he also is pretty relentless with his takedowns. In this particular matchup, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think even though I didn't see any signs of Austin Vanderford necessarily gassing out in later rounds, to which I did see Nikolay Veretennikov kind of gassing out when he was facing Michael Morales. But look, this comes down to kind of a gut pick, I guess, if you want to say so. You have Vanderford, who is more known for being in the spotlight with Paige Van Zandt, and now he's getting his second chance. He was on Dana White's Contender Series back in 2018. I'm not sure on the particulars of why He never followed that up. I don't know what allegedly happened or why he didn't make a debut in the UFC at that time, but he is making his debut. This is short notice for both of these guys, but I believe that Veretennikov has had a couple cancellations on his last two matches, so we know that he has been training. I just have to think that he is going to be the more prepared fighter in here. He's been in the bright lights before. He knows what to expect. This is Vanderford's first official UFC fight. So I just don't like taking newcomers anymore. It's played against me very, very many times. Occasionally I will. I'm not saying I'm always against them, but in this matchup, I think Veretennikov is going to be the better striker. And I think in the end, each fight is going to start on the feet. And I think that Vanderford's going to have to work to get Veretennikov down. I don't think it's going to be easy at this point in his career. And I look for him to be the better striker. And I look for him to kind of put it on Vanderford, to be quite honest with you. I think he gets a knockout. If it goes long, then that may be a point when you want to look at a bet for Vanderford as far as a live betting scenario, because that's pretty much what I'm looking at here. I don't think this is a fight that I really don't feel comfortable touching prior to, unless I get more knowledge on this. But here, just taking a look at it right from the get-go, I think this is a fight that if I was going to go out on a limb, I would say like a Veretennikov knockout in the first or second round. If it does go long, that's something to watch too, because if Vanderford doesn't get knocked out in the first two rounds, I think he could possibly take over midway through second round and dominate the third and possibly get that split decision victory there. So I'm not too confident in this one, to be honest with you, but I like more of what I see from Veretennikov than I do of Vanderford. So that's where I'm going to go with this fight. I'm going to stick with Veretennikov as my pick. He is the slight favorite right now. So if you're seeing what I'm seeing, and plus the Kazakhstan fighters, they've proven to be pretty tough fighters in there. So I'm just going to go with him. I think he's going to be the better fighter in there on this day. And I do like that little size advantage that he's got there. And I also like King's MMA. So I'm going to go with Nikolay Veretennikov to win this matchup over Austin Vanderford. But here's waiting for the official bets. And I think I have some good ones on this one. I'm not 100% sure that I love these yet, but I'm going to grow to like them. I'm going to grow to love them. In the next couple days, I'm really, really going to get even more fond of them as we go. I first put in a 3-leg parlay, and the reason I mainly did this was because I wanted to parlay something with Mansour Abdul Malik. I think he's one of those guys that you're looking at on the card and you just go, yeah, you can definitely pick out that he has some major advantages over his opponent. I like him in this fight, and his numbers were starting to get a little bit crazy. So I wanted to put some other stuff that I really feel confident about, and I wanted to tag it up and see what I could get on FanDuel, which they had the earliest ones for the guys that I wanted. So I went there first, and when I looked at Malik over on DraftKings already, he was up to a minus 850. I went over on FanDuel. He was still down in the minus 650, which I never like taking a minus 650 in anything. But in this one, I feel very confident that he gets it done. So I went ahead and I put him in a 3-leg parlay with Ibo Aslan. If you watched my breakdown before, you know why I am picking Ibo Aslan. I think he's going to be the bigger dog in this matchup. I think Cutelaba gets very, very frustrated if everything isn't going his way. I don't think the takedowns are going to be there for him in this one if he decides to take it there. But I also think that he's the type that wants to prove himself a little bit more, and I could see it being a slugfest. He gets a little bit wild, and I think that his chin is more diminished than Aslan. So I'm going with Aslan there. I think if it does blow down to a firefight, that he's got the advantage in that one. And Yadong Song. This boils down to the age factor again. Bantamweight, I don't like a 38-year-old bantamweight coming in trying to take on somebody who I think has a size advantage, a strength advantage, and a striking advantage. Even if the wrestling is there, I think Song will work his way back up, and I think once he gets back up to his feet, I think it's going to be a striking contest he's going to be outmatching Henry Cejudo in everything that he does. I think the output is going to be there. So if Cejudo comes in and he can get takedowns, even in the first and second rounds, can he do it in the third? That's a lot. That's a lot to expend yourself to get somebody down to the ground continuously like Song. And I just don't think it's going to be there in the end for him to continuously do that. And I don't think he wins a striking matchup against him. So that's my 3-leg parlay there. We got it at plus 149 over on FanDuel. And then, to be quite honest with you, I don't do this a lot, but I have I really like the Aslan money line in this one. It's not too out of control. I actually should have taken it earlier. I think I could have gotten it at a minus 130. And since then, since I took it at minus 155, it's done nothing but go up. I think it was, the last I looked, it was minus 180. So it just continues to go up. I think for good reason, but it is starting to get to the point where I wouldn't take it as well because, like I said, anything can happen in a fight, and this is probably going to be one of those knockdown dragouts. So even though I do like Aslan, I think if you're going to take him, you should probably do it pretty quickly and team it up with something that you feel strong about because it's going to get out of hand. And once it hits minus 200, I'm probably out on that one. So I would stop at about minus 180, to be quite honest with you, is about my max on that. And that's just because I do feel confident that he gets it done. If I didn't, I wouldn't even feel good about minus 180. And then this is my underdog pick. I just can't get over it. Look, this happens all the time. You get told about, oh, this guy's so much better. This guy's so much better. This guy's so much better. I'm not saying that Jean Silva is not good. I think he is a fantastic striker, but I think that he is going to be at a speed disadvantage in this one. And his striking style is to walk you down, get in your face, and make it close. I think that Melsik has the movement to stay out of harm's way in those close encounters. And I think those leg kicks are going to start right from the beginning. And I think that Melsik has a speed advantage in this one. And we have to keep in mind, if we're talking about a stand-up match here, Melsik Bagdasaryan has a ton of kickboxing matches under his belt. Do you really think that he can't strike with Gene Silva? That's where I just start losing it because Gene Silva who has he necessarily just completely, I mean, I know that he hasn't had an easy road. I wouldn't say anything like that. But when I'm looking at his record, let me just look it up here. Kevin Vallejos, I mean, yes, he's good, but that was a contender series. You don't even fight the same as a contender series matchup. Weston Wilson sucks. I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. So whatever. That even took you to the second round there. Charles Jourdain. Yes, you caught Charles Jourdain. He's very good, but in all honesty, I think Charles Jourdain was winning that matchup before you caught him. So again, you're catching him. And the Drew Dober, I'll give you that one, but it was also a doctor stoppage. So you cut him, and I'm going to give you credit for that. Not saying anything against it, but I just look, when I look at Bagdasaryan, I'm definitely not impressed with his level of competition that he's fought, except Josh Kulabau. Josh Kulabau was pretty good. He was winning that matchup until he fell on the ground, and Josh Kulabau jumped his back quick, very, very quick. So it was an excellent back take. The Bruno Souza, I mean, Bruno's not bad. That's not a terrible win there. And then from there, yeah, there's nothing other than Dennis Bazooka. That was, I mean, he's proven to be a pretty tough fighter in the UFC. So I am going to go with Melsik Bagdasaryan. If anything, I think this line is too wide. I think you're giving way too much credit for Silva for beating one guy, basically. The Drew Dober win is why you're seeing this line right now. And again, impressive, yes, because Drew Dober is a fantastic fighter, I think. But Bagdasaryan, he hasn't been in the UFC. He hasn't been fighting in about a year and 6 months, I believe, is what it was. I think he's going to be very, very motivated to come in and get this win. This is just doesn't seem like a man that is okay with losing. And seeing as how he's got that one fight under his belt in that year and 7 months, and he was coming off that loss to Josh Coolbaugh. I think he's going to be motivated to get back in there. I think he wants to get back in there. I think this will be a good matchup for him. I don't think Silva's as fast, and I think he can piece him up from the outside. Only thing is, can he avoid the danger for all 3 rounds? We're gonna see, but these are all 1-unit bets, by the way. So I've got a unit on these. Obviously, Bagdasarian would be a lovely one to hit and take care of everything else. So we'll see how we go. This is what I got in for now. I will put up more as the week goes along, but this is what I'm giving you right now. And I hope you enjoy. I hope let me know in the comment section what you think. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe, hit the like and subscribe. Help us grow this page. I will see you again next time. I will update this again. I'll probably do an entire breakdown once again of the entire card when it gets a little bit closer on Friday. If I'm here, then I'm probably going to do a breakdown where I go through the weigh-ins and give you those picks too. Maybe change some shit. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Until then, have a good night. I will see you again next time. Peace.